Shalom, it's Rabbi David Barron with my Torah Talk. Before I begin, I'd like to just remind everyone that we're looking forward to welcoming you to our upcoming events. These events, many of them are free and open to the public. On Wednesday evening, May 4th, we're going to have our citywide celebration of Israel's Independence Day and a gala concert, so we hope you'll be there for that event. Join us. It's at 7 p.m. here at our temple's beautiful home, the Saban Theater in Beverly Hills. The following night is the opening night of the Israel Film Festival at our Steve Tisch Cinema Center. We hope you'll be there for that as well. And then on May 20th, we're doing a really special Shabbat that's free and open to the whole community. It's called Those Who Chose, Men and Women Who Converted to Judaism, and some really fascinating insights into the lives of men and women who've adopted our faith. And it's really inspirational. Rabbi Neil Weinberg will be joining me for that special evening in a panel of men and women who converted to Judaism. So all of these are really special events. We want you to be a part of our community. Join us. Just go to our website, templeofthearts.org, for more information. Well, this is the closing days of the festival of Pesach, Chag Sameach, a joyous and healthy Passover. I hope you had a beautiful Seder in your home or with family and friends. We had a magnificent Seder the second night of Passover at the Four Seasons Hotel, and it was very special. We had a violinist from the Ukraine, from Kiev, who performed for us a beautiful piece of music in memory of all of those Ukrainians who died in this horrific military attack by the Russian government and military against the people, the innocent civilians of Ukraine. And also, we asked the four questions in many different languages, in Mandarin, in Italian. It was a very special evening and a wonderful way of coming together and being with each other. And I hope you experienced that on Passover. So as we come here to the final days of the holiday, when I'm taping this Shabbat message and this Torah talk, we want to discuss what the meaning of freedom really is. And it means many different things to many different people. But when we talk specifically about freedom from tyranny, the tyranny of a tyrant, of a ruler who oppresses people, we think back to our own country's founding and that great document, the Declaration of Independence. And many of us, as we've read and reread the Declaration of Independence, I'd like to focus on the closing line that comes right before the first signature, the John Hancock, by John Hancock himself. And those words are really powerful, and they send a message to each and every one of us. Here's what they said as they prepared to sign the Declaration of Independence. We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Really interesting to see the scope of the sacrifice these men were going to make on behalf of freedom for a new nation. And the truth is, freedom can't be achieved without sacrifice. Our lives, we know all of the men and women who've served in our armed forces, who've made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms, the freedoms that we enjoy and that we must preserve in a society that has too much of cancel culture and too much of oppression of different opinions that need to be expressed and that are part of our legacy as Americans, our precious legacy of freedom. But also our fortunes. And a lot of us don't realize that it takes a commitment of everything we've amassed in terms of those elements, cash, stocks, bonds. These men provided everything. They pledged their fortunes to this new enterprise of freedom from tyranny, of a new America. And we're not, all of us, required to make that kind of sacrifice all the time, but we have to recognize that we have to be willing to provide our means, our totality, our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And too many of us seem to feel that we can achieve freedom without making sacrifices. It's not true. It requires sacrifice from each and every one of us. And the last thing they mentioned is what I want to really focus in on, our sacred honor. These days, the word honor is overlooked, ignored, not something that we think about. But our pledge and our commitment is our sacred honor. And we are called upon to make a commitment and a pledge to preserving freedom. Our honor and dignity depends upon it, as well as those on whose behalf we're working for. So I want you to think about that. Who passed on this concept of honor to you? For many of us, it was our parents and our grandparents, our ancestors, our traditions. If we didn't have great families and upbringing, maybe it was teachers or an inspirational mentor or figure, a big brother or a big sister who might have helped you and guided you and given you a sense of your own dignity and honor. And so when you make a pledge or a commitment, your honor is at stake. And I think that for many of us, we ignore that at our peril. And in terms of our ancestors who gave us that sense of honor and belief in ourselves, this is the time of year at the final days of Passover where we hold a Yizkor memorial service. So let's take a moment now and offer a Yizkor prayer for any one of our parents or grandparents or special people in our lives who gave us a sense of honor and dignity and belief in who and what we are and what our mission is in this world. So let's take a moment, close our eyes, and think of them as we offer this Yizkor memorial prayer. Yizkor Elohim, dear God, remember the love of my precious dear one, whom I recall at this time, at the end of the Passover holiday, as I think about the preciousness of freedom and who and what I am and have become. I want to pay honor and homage to those who came before me and to those who inspired me. May their memory always be a blessing and a light on my path. And let us say, Amen. So as we took that moment to remember the sacrifices of those who went before us and the sense of dignity and honor that they gave us, let's remember that we're making this pledge to each other, just like the founders said in the Declaration of Independence. They made that pledge to one another. We have nothing but each other in this life, and we make that pledge and commitment to one another to make this a better world for the next generation. I hope that message is one we can take to heart, and let us all say, Amen.